Hi, this is Craig. This is another mindfulness video. The theme for this one is happiness and sadness. Um, and I wanted to put this video out because I am seeing people's suffering in the world, and I'm also seeing people's unhappiness in the world. And I wanted to share what mindfulness and what awareness means for happiness and sadness, and how we can use awareness to help us reclaim our inner happiness and also be with our sad times that come. So that's what this video is about. So, first of all, we'll talk about happiness. Now, when was the last time you were happy? This is a good question. Our happiness is our natural state, is our inner being. When you're in being, when you're in awareness, happiness can come. The conditions for happiness are in the present moment. If you're observing the present moment with awareness, then you have a chance for happiness. We don't go into the present moment going, I want happiness, because there's a thought about happiness, and that can cover up our inner happiness that's already there with a desire, with a want. So we have to just be present in the moment. Sounds simple, but when you're in that moment, are you thinking about past concerns, future concerns, or are you not even aware that you're thinking of the past and the future, but there's this kind of heaviness, there's this subtle energy that is heavy, is dense, is not of happiness. So you can remind yourself of times when you were happy and remember how that felt. It could be something very, very simple. You might laugh at a joke. You might look at the clouds and have a moment of awe and reverence. You might walk and hear the sound. There may have been a funny sound. Maybe you're looking at birds and you're getting sort of overwhelmed by their beauty. Maybe you're having a really good conversation with someone who you really like, and they're really. It's just an amazing conversation. You're present in those moments. You are there. Happiness is what comes from observing, from being aware. And it's very useful when you're feeling a bit low to switch your focus to awareness. And awareness can give you your happiness. So happiness is already there, but it's covered. Every time we have opinions or judgments or criticisms or something is not to our liking, we're resisting life. We could be resisting cold, we could be resisting people, countries, you name it. They're in our mind. There are opinions, there are rules and patterns that we've embedded from a young age through conditioning and all sorts of stuff. It's in our head. And if we're not aware, we're just putting that stuff out. And is all this stuff happiness? It covers your happiness. Your inner, peaceful, joyful, childlike state of being, of living life, of existing in this world with a sense of wonder and a sense of joy and a sense of appreciation, a sense of gratitude. Where is all of that? It's underneath all of your thoughts. All of these thoughts. Me no like. I don't like. This is no good. This needs to change. All of this opinion, is preventing your happiness, is preventing your natural state to arise. So we practice our mindfulness, we practice our meditations, we practice breathing, which is following our breath. It interrupts your thinking for a moment, stops all of this stuff going on up here. You come into your heart. So we'll have a moment just now. We'll come into our heart. How are we really, really feeling right now? And it's difficult to answer that question because your mind often answers it. It's like, well, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm a bit tired. Or I'm a bit grouchy or something. But your mind is saying all this stuff. Feel. Sit and feel. Let go of thoughts. What are you feeling? Is there heaviness? Is there tiredness? Is there what's going on in your body? This is the clue. So if there is a heaviness, if there's tension, if there's resistance, if you're feeling a bit meh, you've woken up in the morning and you're like, there's stuff going on up here. You may or may not be aware of it. So coming into your being, at every opportunity that you can remember to do so, is coming back to the present moment, coming back to awareness, and not judging what you're seeing. Because then you are in that moment. You're in the flow of life and you're accepting life, and it passes by, it comes and it goes. A sun appears behind the clouds, hits your face, and you have this moment of, I really feel the sun on my face. And then it's gone, the cloud obscures the sun. And so you go on and you go on and go on. But your happiness, your peacefulness, your calmness, and your joy can be there quite often. Maybe all the time if you're getting really adept at the present moment. Your happiness is never far away. So, a good question to keep asking yourself is, how happy are you? If there's not been any happiness in a long, long time, then there's stuff up here. And so it's not really a solution to, I need to get rid of all this stuff up here. The solution is just you switch focus. That's it. You just switch focus from thinking to awareness. Awareness is not thinking. If you're thinking, you're not present unless you're aware of the thought. And then you tend to let them go anyway, because most of the thoughts that come are just conditioned, patterned programs, nothing to do with right here, right now. They're past stuff that you bring to bear for now. And this can formulate things like opinions and statements in our mind of what's right and wrong and all this kind of stuff. So you can come back to yourself, just keep coming back to yourself. Find your happiness, but without thinking about your happiness. It'll just come naturally. So on the reverse side of that is sadness. Now, sadness comes primarily from something that's happened that is difficult or has been uncomfortable or painful. And so our mind is more fixed on the past than it is the present. Similarly, sadness can also come from worrying too much about the future and depression and things like that, where it's like, what's the point in living anymore? There's no, I have no purpose, So sadness can come from both sides, past and future. But if you're in sadness and you know you're in sadness and you can be present with the sadness, then you're pulling the past and the future into now, and you're holding on to the feeling of sadness in your body right here, right now. You're sad. It's okay. Because sadness is just as important as happiness. Most of society is seeking pleasure and happiness all the time and trying to fight the sadness all the time. But actually, sadness is just as important as happiness. They're not, one's not better than the other. They just feel different. So, sadness. If you're sad, then be sad. Really observe the sadness. You can sit with sadness or grief. It's not easy. Sometimes we want to get away from it. It's painful, it's uncomfortable. But the more you stay with it, even as you go about your day, if you still know there's a sadness and you're not criticizing the sadness, you're not wanting it to go away, you're not judging it, you're not opinioning about it, because that's up here. You come into your heart, you let go of thinking. It's like, I'm sad, yes. I'm going to walk with my sadness. I'm going to take a mindful walk with it. And I'm going to look at trees, and I'm going to listen to birds, and I'm going to sit in the sunshine, and I'm going to feel those things. But I'm also knowing that sadness is here too. And I can feel it. There could be a lump in my throat, there could be tears, there could be a tightness in the chest. It manifests in different ways for different people. But sadness is here. And I can look at the world and all the stuff that you see on news, and in life, and people around who are also struggling. You don't see many happy people these days, and people are caught up here. And you can hold that with compassion. You can hold that with sadness. Sadness is a form of compassion. Sadness is really just love that has turned into sadness. Sadness is a very powerful emotion, and a very useful one, because it can give us compassion. You could say sadness transforms into compassion. If you have enough sadness in you, but you process it and you allow it to be here, it will change to compassion. It will change to understanding other people's struggles. And then you're in a much more mindful space to be able to help or sit with those people without opinion. Opinion is just muddying stuff. Opinions are neither right nor wrong, because everyone has different ones. And they come and go. Things that stay are your feelings. How are you? Are you happy? So sadness, you could say, is the opposite of happy, but it's a transformation period. So sit with it. Be with your sadness. And if you feel like it's too much, then obviously you can practice mindfulness, you can do walks, you can sit and breathe, you can try and do something joyful, you can try and take your mind off it. But you see that whole thing, take your mind off it. When you meditate, that's exactly what you're doing, but you're being with it. And that's very powerful, because you're watching sadness. Where's sadness going? What's it doing? Is it moving in my body? How does it shift in levels of intensity? Does it go higher or lower? How am I feeling? And even with moments of sadness, there's periods of less sadness and greater sadness. When someone dies, when someone we love is no longer here, then there's grief. There's a deeper form of sadness. And it can come and go, and it keeps coming back too, because when you think about the person, obviously there's sadness there. So when you think about a person and sadness is here, if you hold and nurture your sadness and tend to it and be kind to it and kind to yourself, and smile that there is a memory, there's a gratitude there. There's times I'm sad because that person was just so lovely, that person was part of my life, that person gave me joy. That's kind of an honoring of that person to be sad. So it's not a problem to be sad. It's not an issue. It's just a feeling that can come. And if you honor it and appreciate it, you'll find you'll be able to cope a bit better with it, including the grief. So grief is a kind of honoring. So creating ceremony is a lovely thing, because you can be with your sadness and your grief in that way. You can walk paths that you walked together. You could sit, you can light a candle and think about that person. You can breathe, you can meditate with the candle, you can be with the whatever it's bringing up for you, but you can be with it. And then after a while, your sadness will transform into compassion. So happiness is in the present moment. All the thoughts, all the opinions, all the criticisms, everything in your life is resisting the present moment. You're in the past. Too much past, your body starts to suffer. You get tired, you get grouchy. There's more emotions. There's more chance for you to be ill. The more you judge, the more illness is there. So opinions really need to go. We need to notice them. In the moment, we can go, oh, is there anything I can do about this? I'm resisting this moment. Is there something I can do about it? Maybe there is. And so you do it. The thought goes. If you're too cold and you're like, oh, it's too cold, you can do something about it, if you can. If you can't, then you have to accept that it's cold. But hopefully there's things you can do, a blanket, a jacket, walking faster, breathing deeply, finding a warm space somewhere else. There's things that you could maybe do in that present moment to help. But other opinions, we have opinions about the world. What can I do about this world? If I fix that bit, there's going to be all these other bits. Sometimes it can get a bit depressing. You sort of think, I'm trying to fix this, I'm trying to solve that, or I'm trying to help this person, but this person's never seeing my help and they're in their pattern. And even if I fix that person, later on, they're going to have the same problem again. It just keeps resurfacing. The fixing will go on forever. There comes a point where you're looking at the world and you're like, how do I feel about the world? Do I feel happy in it, or am I sad? If I'm happy, then I've got more joy, I've got more energy, I'm more able to help others actually from a less biased point of view, from a less opinioned point of view. I can treat people with compassion. Doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, it doesn't matter. You're there to help. How can I help? How can I sit with this person? But if you're opinioning or you're labeling and you're putting things in boxes and you're like, well, I like this stuff, but I don't like all that stuff. So if some of that needs help, but not me, I'm just going to help this stuff, then that's discrimination and you're continuing to feel the pattern in your mind. And those patterns aren't necessarily helpful for you or your body, as I've just said. So it's within your interest to actually let go of a lot of this and come into your heart at every opportunity and breathe and be and see if you can reclaim that happiness that's in you. Because if you can, you're going to be a powerful force for all sorts of change. Your energy ripples out. A happy person in a room can affect the room. And if you're sad, then comfort yourself. Look after yourself. Do not worry about sadness. Do not get too up here about it. Things have happened. Things are difficult. But if you can come into yourself and breathe and be with that grief, it will do something. It will transform. It will shape how you're feeling. You'll come out stronger. Grief creates strength. So I wanted to talk a bit about those two things, and I hope this has been a useful video for you, just sharing some musings about mindful awareness and what has happened for me when I've experienced things like sadness and what I've done in order to just allow it to be there and processing it, and always seem to come out the other side a little bit more robust. So I hope this has been useful for you. Please take care out there in the world. Keep coming back to your being whenever you can, and you'll notice a difference. You'll begin to notice a difference in your life. Maybe there will be moments of happiness. They might grow, they might expand the more you're present. So, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you again in another video. Bye bye just now.